Hello and welcome to the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint Monster Podcast presented by Spendthrift Farm, home of Bolt Doro, one of three straight champion freshman sires at the farm. Next up, so happy to have one of my favorite riders, one of my favorite broadcasters back on the In the Money airwaves. He's here to talk about the Filly and Mare Sprint from Fox Sports America's Day at the Races. He's Richie Migliore. Richie, how are things?
Things are good. Good, really good to see you.
Let's dive in, my friend, to this Filly and Mare Sprint. A race I think is pretty interesting. A few horses we could talk about. Where should we begin the conversation? Who are you the most interested in here?
Well, I'm interested on a horse that's kind of on the come. It's not there yet.
Okay.
It's the 4-horse Tamara. Richard Mandella. He went the other way with Copion, running against the boys in the sprint, and that tells me that he feels like he's got this base covered with Tamara. Showed a lot of ability early on. They tried to stretch her out, which is, everybody's got to test those waters. Back to what she really wants to do, be a sprinter. I think 7/8 is maybe her best distance. Has the race off of the layoff. Richard Mandella, I trust.
Yeah, I get it. And the pedigree certainly needs no introduction for our friends at Spendthrift Farm, being out of the all-time great Beholder. That can only make it seem like that promise she showed early. Maybe she'll be delivering on it in the Filly and Mare Sprint. Not going to be easy, though. A lot of ways to go in here. My eye, when I was looking at the pre-entries for the race, before we exactly knew what they were going to do with the two Mandella runners, was already drawn to Sweet Azteca. She comes here, 2 wins off the layoff. Do you think she deserves her place at the top of the market?
I do, because of how good she is. She's in really good form now. She's 2 for 2 at Del Mar. I look at that. I like horses for courses kind of angles. She has speed, so she's going to create her own trip. Yeah, very, very much the horse to beat.
When you're looking at Breeders' Cups in general, when you're looking at racing at Del Mar, Bob Baffert springs to mind. He's got a pair of interesting runners here with Richie cutting back in distance. Maybe that's a hunch play for you. And then, of course, Hope Road, who was so impressive back in Saratoga on over Travers weekend. What do you think of this pair's credentials?
Yeah, I mean, I would lean more towards Hope Road, another one that's compiled a good record at Del Mar. Comes off a really nice win in the Ballerina, which is, for me, the highlight of the summer for the Fillies and Mare sprinting, grade 1 in Saratoga. And she looks to sit a good trip again, especially being drawn more towards the outside.
History remembers moments of extraordinary strength, skill, and determination. True greatness is forged by those who fulfill their destiny.
Another one who is going to be very active in the betting, actually the third of the Bafferts in here, is Splendora, ridden by Flavian Pratt this time around. I think it's interesting she's as close to the other two in the betting. I guess people are thinking maybe that last race represents a new level of ability. I wasn't sure that she took advantage of a course that was playing to speed and was beating over matched rivals there. Does she rise to the level of those other two Bafferts, and does she deserve her place in the betting?
Well, nothing would surprise me, particularly with Bob Baffert in big races, Breeders' Cup, particularly in California. I prefer out of the Baffert trio, the 8 Hope Road. Splendora feels like, much like Tamara, has to take that next step.
Yeah, and maybe not as many reasons to do so right now, whereas Tamara, clearly has had all these stops and starts, and I think you can really spin a yarn about her being ready to run the fastest race she's ever run. And if she does that, it's going to be pretty interesting. Plenty of other contenders in here, or at least horses that go with some chance. Is there anything at a wild price you've got your eye on, Richie?
Yeah, a horse that always grabs me, and she's just never broken through. And she's a big price, but she's, the all-time winningest trainer in North America, Steve Asmussen. Zeitlos always seems to me to be right there on the edge of maybe breaking through. I don't know about winning, but I'm definitely going to use her in my exotics. You know, again, full disclosure, she's a horse that always kind of lures me in. Maybe one day she'll break through.
We always have our horses like that, that are sort of pets that we want to get in there. And hey, the kind of price that you're going to get, especially for underneath, I wouldn't blame you. I've got one like that too in this race, and that's Vava for Cherie Deveau. Irad Ortiz
Yeah.
Jr. in the irons. Am I out to lunch with this one, or do you think Vava could have an impact?
No, Vava certainly can have an impact. She's has races in her past that make her very tough. My question with Vava, coming back this year now as a 5-year-old, has she started to lose a step? Her last few races to me felt just a little bit lean for her standard. Maybe she's a little bit of a victim of her own success, but that's the slight impression I got over her last 2 starts. Like she kind of got there, and horses I thought she would have handled in the past, she couldn't quite get it done.
An old athlete like you will appreciate this, and me, a fake athlete, needs a glory days run. That's
Absolutely, but as an older athlete now, I do know that Father Time is undefeated.
older. That would have been a much better way for me to host. Throw that in there. I apologize for the insult.
Not at all. Stop.
Great stuff, Richie. Really appreciate you coming on with us here today, and we'll talk to you very soon.
I look forward to it. Take care.